Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Tim Gordon in for Stephanie Domerat. This week, we're diving into the biggest issues facing not just the Pacific Northwest, but the nation's largest growing age group. AARP estimates that in 5 years, 1 in every 5 Oregonians will be 65 years or older. And last year, for the first time, Oregonians 65 plus outnumbered those 18 years old and younger. Our elders are such an important part of our community, but too often, too many are overlooked, unhelped, and isolated. We will talk about that and solutions to help seniors thrive in our community. And joining us is Bandana Shrestha, who is the State Director of AARP Oregon. Bandana has been with the organization, which supports seniors, for about 20 years. She represents the interests of more than 500,000 members in Oregon. Before becoming director, she was an associate director working on livability, affordable housing, and other issues. Also with us is Jody Michelson, a manager with the Department of County Human Services here in Multnomah County. Jody has worn many hats in the aging services area. Currently, she's program manager of the county's homeless mobile intake team, which looks to help vulnerable groups like seniors facing homelessness. Bandana and Jody, thanks so much for joining us and being here on Straight Talk today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Great.
Thank you, Tim.
Of course, you're welcome. And we're going to get right to the questions because I know we have a lot to cover. And Bandana, I'm going to ask you first, just in general, what is the state of seniors here in Oregon? What are you seeing as major needs and challenges in the state?
Thank you so much again for having us. And I'll start out by saying older adults are shaping our future, and along the way they're facing many challenges. So just like you said, we are one of those states out of 11, we're just one of them across the nation that are now having more older adults, people 65 plus, than younger people under the age of 18. And that has an impact on our economy, on our infrastructure, and all sectors. The great thing is that older adults, we generally, Oregonians, are living longer and living healthier lives. We're contributing. People are making a great impact as volunteers, as family caregivers. People are still in the workforce. AARP has this report that we do every few years called the Longevity Economy Report. And according to it, in 2020, older adults, people 50 plus, contributed about $83 billion in economic activity in Oregon.
Wow.
That's a lot, but that doesn't even include other things that are unpaid. Unpaid family caregivers contribute a lot through unpaid services to their loved ones. But those are all the good things. There are a lot of challenges, just like you said, and I'd point out a few just as we get started. Housing security is a major issue. We see a lot of insecurity in terms of older adults being one of the fastest growing segment of those who are houseless. We see food insecurity, and I mentioned family caregiving. It's both a wonderful thing because 80% of care in America is provided by family caregivers. So our long-term care system really relies on almost 500,000 family caregivers here in Oregon, but at the same time, they're extremely burdened financially as well as emotionally because it takes a real toll when you're caring for your loved one and doing really important service in your community. So those are just some of the issues.
Sure, and all this grows as baby boomers reach retirement age and our aging population grows as it is.
Yeah.
Now, Jody, tell us about some of the needs you see right here in Multnomah County and a bit about what the county's doing to help.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Multnomah County is a diverse community. We have folks of all ages, but as Bandana said, our aging population is definitely growing. We look forward to retirement and we look forward to spending time with grandchildren, but some of the things that come along with retirement and aging, of course, are the inability to sometimes get around as easily as you should. Transportation is a huge issue for seniors, not just to medical appointments, but to things that contribute to their community, to them, reducing the isolation that they're experiencing in their lives. It's hard if you can't get out to connect with your community. Multnomah County works with district centers in the area, including the Northwest Area District Center, which has an LGBTQ Pride Center, as well as the Northeast Portland Center, run by the Urban League, and the Center for Positive Aging in Northeast Portland. Just a few of the centers and communities that are really serving the broader population beyond the folks that we're serving in the Medicaid population. Of course, I mentioned social connection and activity because it is such a part of our human experience. And we want to stay connected and keep those positive connections, but we lose those as we age, as our partners pass away and friends pass away. So rebuilding community constantly is such an important piece of becoming older and staying connected and healthy.
Yeah, all staying integrated as a community is so important for sure.
Absolutely, and supporting each other.
Yeah. Vandana, let's talk about ageism now and how it manifests and how damaging it can be for people, whether it's in the workplace or elsewhere.
Thank you for asking that question. And I'll start out by saying that ageism is one of those discriminations that we will all probably experience at some point in our lives if we live long enough. And it is really an issue that impacts everybody, like you said, both in the workplace, in all sectors we see ageism, and it can be very sneaky in the way it shows up. In the workplace, it might be that somebody doesn't get hired because of their age, or if you're already in there, it might be the judgment that people have that you're not going to know how to use technology or cannot learn another skill, being passed over for a job promotion. Those are ways that ageism can show up. In the healthcare sector, it might mean that your provider doesn't, like dismisses your symptoms and says, oh, that's just aging.
Sure.
That is not aging, or rather I would say that's ageism. So and in the media and in the general culture, we see such a projection of age and older adults in sometimes very negative ways. We don't see the vitality of older adults, that they are contributing and really helping our society thrive. So ageism is really pernicious and it's happening everywhere, and sometimes we have ourselves, we have internalized ageism, and I
Sure.
talk about age being that bias against our future self. And if we are able to fight against it, whether it's fighting for things like age discrimination law, we fought against age discrimination. We were able to help strengthen Oregon's age discrimination law, which will help people get into the workforce, be judged by their talent and skills and not their age, So that just went into law, yeah.
So important, especially as people work later in their life, but also, as people turn 50, it's already an issue, right? It can come
really
along
is.
quickly.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It can come along at, as soon as you turn 40, that judgment starts.
Yep, and thanks for sharing some of what AARP is doing about that and trying to turn that around. It's a tough one for sure. And Jody, along those same lines, with seniors at risk from elder abuse, scams, targeting seniors, I know the county has the Adult Protective Services. How do they help fight against those?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Tim. And I think the larger community needs to know about how to connect with Adult Protective Services. We have a Aging Disability Resource Connection hotline or helpline, 503-988-3646. Folks can call in with concerns about abuse, all kinds of abuse, including financial and physical, as well as self-neglect. So if you have a neighbor or loved one that is not caring for themselves in the way you know that they used to, because there are some deterioration happening, sure. Reach out, connect, and our Adult Protective Service team will go out and visit the person in their home, assess what the needs are, and connect them with resources. As far as scams and abuse, unfortunately, our Adult Protective Services team are receiving it over 800 calls a month.
Wow.
So and that is just for Multnomah County, and we know that the need is incredibly high. When we work with folks who are experiencing financial scams and abuse, we do also work with local and federal law partners to investigate that, because those are serious. For Adult Protective Services, we can protect the senior, but there are legal consequences to these things as well, and we want to be able to help seniors prosecute their perpetrators.
Sure, and I know when I met with you both before, I shared my parents' story of having been scammed, and it was just an awful thing. Happened a few years ago, and my mom, who prides herself on being so on top of things, this got her, and it was very emotionally difficult and financially difficult, and it took a while to work through that. So it's really good to hear that there are some protections and some help for people. But elder abuse can really range from, we talk about scams, but also within families that aren't caring for or are abusing their elders. That's also an issue I'd like you to discuss a little bit too.
Sure. I'll talk about frauds and scams a little bit, but I'll address the issue of elder abuse. It can be so hard to detect sometimes because these are close relationships people are involved in. There's sometimes a lot of shame to talk about elder abuse if it's within the family. And people are also, they don't want their loved ones to be, persecuted or, put in jail. So things are very complicated. But just as a general rule around frauds and scams, it's really increasing. It's becoming very persistent, and everybody of every age is affected. In fact, younger people are scammed at a higher rate than older adults.
Is that right?
Yes, but just so happens that older adults lose more money. And the scams are becoming sophisticated with the advent of AI, and all sorts of different scams are now coming along, from grandparent scam, which we hear a great deal about, to tech scams, which everybody probably knows about. Those texts you get from Amazon, those are not from Amazon.
No, they aren't.
But sometimes it is easy to fall for those because people don't know what is real. It's so sophisticated. And there is also a great deal of shame sometimes when you fall victim
Sure.
to it.
Yeah.
People think that, oh my goodness, somebody's going to judge me. They're going to question my cognitive ability, so people hide it. What we really need to do is to talk about frauds and scams as something that happens to everybody, and to be able to demystify it, remove the stigma, because scams really do thrive in silence.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you something that just came to my mind to ask, lightening it up a little bit. I want each of you to describe maybe 2 things that we as community members can do to just make an Elders Day.
Do you want to go first?
We want to see our elders as a resource. They have history, they have knowledge, they have experiences that we, will never have because they lived in past generations that we haven't. We need to value that knowledge, and we need to reach out to them to support us too. One of the most important things, particularly during inclement weather, but all times of the year, is to see who's on your street. See if there's an elderly neighbor who may have their grass growing a bit longer, or you notice their house is in a little bit more disrepair. Reach out. Say hello, ask if you can connect. There are also multiple programs throughout the city, but I wanted to mention Northwest Villages, a wonderful program that's an opt-in volunteer program, and it's a virtual village. People who can drive can take you to the doctor, and if you can type a letter for them. So there's a sharing of skill, experience, and knowledge. Younger people can also volunteer, and let me tell you, the gift is ours to receive when we're supporting the elders in our
Absolutely,
community.
so right. And Vandana, how about you?
I will say call your loved one who you're far away from. Call your mom, call your grandmother, say thank you. We wouldn't be here without our elders. So
Well said. Thank you so much. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break here on Straight Talk, but when we come back, we'll dive into the growing number of homeless seniors in our state and resources available to them. And welcome back. We are continuing our conversation on our growing senior population, the issues they face, and resources available to help them. We're joined by Jody Michelson, Program Manager at Multnomah County Health and Human Services, and Vandana Shrestha, the State Director at AARP Oregon. Vandana and Jody, thanks a lot again for joining us. We've got a whole other half to talk, so it's good. Jody, I'm going to talk to you about a big area of your work, which is with homeless seniors. Again, the largest segment of our houseless population. You oversee the Multnomah County Homeless Mobile Intake Team, an award-winning program focused on seniors and those with disabilities. This week, we had the pleasure of meeting 2 clients your team helped out of homelessness into a safe place to live and receive the care that they need long-term. Both 67-year-old Stephanie and 81-year-old John are now living at Providence Elder Place in Northeast Portland. Here's what they had to say about that.
This is a joy. It is stability that I really have never had.
That is amazing. I mean, I'm home. I'm finally home.
I just love that. It was so great to meet them and the people on your team. that are making this work happen. Jody, tell us more about the Homeless Mobile Intake Team and the work you do.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to. I'm so proud of the team. We have a team of 4. 3 of those are culturally specific so that we can meet folks in their homelessness, where they are at, not only physically, but where they're at with their lived experience. We do see, as you said, Tim, that seniors are the most increasing population of homeless people that we have in our communities. People also age more quickly when they are homeless.
For sure.
We are inside, we receive 3 meals a day, we have shelter and health care. That is something that folks in our homeless communities do not have easy access to. We get referrals from community partners who are serving folks who are living on the street, and we see folks who are street homeless, meaning we meet people in tents, in their vehicles, in encampments, and we talk with them about our services, assess them for their care needs. Our program supports folks who have hands-on care needs with their physical care to keep them safe and healthy.
Right, with Stephanie and John, for example, both of them had some pretty major health issues, and they're doing so much better getting the care they need.
Because they're inside and getting health care and love, and they have a community. They are incredible examples, but there's more folks out there who are living rough, living street homeless that we are serving. We have, as I said, a small group of 4, but we see over 350 people a year that we are referred to us, and so far since the program's start, we have placed 150 folks into community-based care settings and a small number into independent housing. Unfortunately, we find that our populations, of course, want to live independently in their own apartments and homes, but those aren't available, particularly with the income that they have. So we rely a lot on care facilities and our partners to house folks and receive care.
Sure, and Elder Place has a network of residential facilities, I imagine, available to you, and some others as well. But I hear you saying the need is great for even more places to have people be safe.
And you know, the need is great. I think it goes without saying, but for affordable units for folks who are on Social Security, who are retired and on fixed incomes, they're not going to have ability to get jobs and make more money so that they can have a nicer apartment or an apartment at all.
Right. Yes, please.
I was just going to say, you know, the average Social Security income here in Oregon for older adults is $1,950. And for 50% of about 700,000 older adults who get Social Security, that accounts for 90% of their income. You know, people are balancing medication, food, all the other costs, including housing. And as Jody said, it's not just when people are already homeless. We really need to think about housing as a need that is, you know, as people age, we need it. We have just a lack of housing units available. We also don't have the types of housing we need in terms of different sizes of housing. You know, like for an older adult, if they have lost their ability and they're living in their single family home, they may not be able to downsize. But for those who cannot afford to live in a home of their own, they need a cheaper rental, and we don't have enough of those.
Sure, and I knew that you would key in on that, Bonda, and I'm glad you did. What can we do? I mean, it's not as simple as saying, we need to build more housing. We know that, but how can we get it done? How can we get it done and have the variety that we need and the affordability that we need?
I think there are many solutions to it. I think all solutions are at play and important. I think there are some real good things that have been done. You know, in the last two or three legislative sessions, we've had bills like in 2019, the House Bill 2001. This year, we had another missing middle housing bill, which was basically allowing cities and communities across Oregon to be able to allow, you know, different types of housing, from duplexes and triplexes and ADUs. That's really good because it means smaller size homes that are more affordable by nature. But there are some other things that we need political conviction and political will to be able to solve some of these issues. For instance, we need to invest in renter assistance. That was a big disappointment at the end of this past legislative session. We need to invest in supportive housing, especially for those who are vulnerable and need care. So we have to look at all solutions, from building more housing and ensuring that the housing that are built are accessible, because guess what? We also lose ability at any age, but especially as we grow older, we might have other needs, and mobility challenges.
Absolutely, ramps and everything else that you might need, sure. I was going to ask you, I mean, so that's AARP. I know you're boots on the ground, but you're also really involved in lobbying for these things.
Yes, and in fact, I say that is part of one of our muscles, really is about advocating for people 50 plus and their families. We do that at the state legislature, at the local level, as well as federally. We're, working to strengthen Social Security, trying to cut prescription drug prices, advocating for housing. On the other hand, we also are boots on the ground. Like you said, we have volunteers across the state who are working to make sure that people have the information they need to be able to make good decisions for themselves, from family caregiving to fighting fraud. And we have two programs that I would be remiss if I didn't mention them.
Please do.
One of them is the AARP Driver Safety Program, where volunteers help older adults learn about the new rules of the road and stay confident and safe in driving. The other one is AARP Foundation's Tax Aid Program, which provides where volunteers who are trained provide tax services to people. And just last year, $19 million was the amount of refunds that people who use tax aid, for free were able to get in refunds.
Wow.
So that's, these are real tangible values. But we also do other things like grant making and collaboration with partners like Multnomah County.
Sure. We
support communities to become age friendly and really think about creating opportunities for people to thrive throughout their life.
Right, and that's a bigger picture too, for sure. Multnomah County, Jody, has community senior centers.
Yes.
Talk about those, what they do, and how they help. And you've got a personal connection to this too, with your dad.
Yes, yes. As I mentioned, our senior centers are located throughout the city. They're demographically located and supported in part from federal dollars as well as county dollars. Those senior centers have a myriad of services. You don't necessarily have to go to the senior center to receive those services. The 988-3646 number is a number where you can connect and receive services, as Bandana said, for tax help, but also right now we're going into Medicare open enrollment, and we have Sheba volunteers that are incredibly educated and helpful when it comes to helping folks wade through what can be a pretty confusing process and that you don't want to get wrong. We have so the senior centers that are located throughout the
You're fine, please.
throughout the area provide meals. They provide culturally specific meals. They provide culturally specific food banks so folks can go in and get staples for the week. They provide entertainment. There's a wonderful group at the Hollywood Senior Center. I know your station has done a show on the ukulele group called Hugs.
You bet. Really good.
A wonderful group. My dad is 83 years old. He's grown up in Portland. He graduated from Franklin High School. He goes to the Center for Positive Aging over in the Hollywood neighborhood and will not miss a Tuesday or a Friday so he can get a meal and see his friends play ukulele. There's ping pong groups, there's writing groups, there's stand-up comedy. It's an incredible resource that
so
seniors should absolutely access, and that people who are supporting seniors should help them to access.
Absolutely. Well, we've got about a minute left. Thanks for that. I will just ask you to tell us one thing briefly that you want the community to know.
Thank you for that opportunity. One thing I want people to know is that aging is our shared destiny. If we're lucky, we will all get old, and we have a role in making sure that our future is wonderful. We're working to make sure that we are, choosing the kind of policies that'll help us thrive as our demographic changes. We have the ability to change things, and we can also recognize that real good positive things are happening, but there are real needs, and we need to have the political will to change those things.
Thanks for that. 15 seconds. What do you want the folks to know?
I just want folks to know that aging is a gift, and our elders are gifts to us, and that we should look at it like that and look at them as resources and not burdens, and show those folks the respect and honor that they truly deserve.
Thank you both very much, Bandana Shrestha and Jody Michelson. Thank you for being here with us on Straight Talk to discuss these important issues. And thank you for watching. You can stream Straight Talk on your own schedule. Download the free KGW Plus app, available right now on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.